All
Alone in the hallway.
Oh, you sound good, Tyler. You sound good. Clear, get back in the water, Clear.
No, oh no.
No.
Stop. Anneliese, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to talk to you. I had the pleasure of seeing you the other night and meeting you at the Disney Princess Tour. How's the show going? How is it being on tour?
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Yes, I did have the pleasure to talk to you yesterday and the day before. We're all friends now, Tyler.
We're like besties.
Yes, and you and your ballet beauty partner, Michael. Thanks so much for coming to the show. It's been great. Right now I'm in Minneapolis in my fabulous studio apartment.
Love it.
It's just a hotel, but gosh, it feels like bigger than some of the New York apartments I've lived in.
Sure.
But it's been great. Like I said, we're in Minneapolis and we're in a new state, a new city almost every night. I've never done a tour before. So this has been very, very exciting for several reasons. I love the travel. I love these women. I'm with 3 other women and a prince, Adam Levy, and a musical director / fairy god fairy named Benjamin Rauhala, who made all of our arrangements. And it's just been a blast. We're really supportive of each other at a time when we really need that. And we're back in the theater at a time where the audience and the community needs it. And our show, the Disney Princess Concert, is a really wonderful feel-good show. I'm an actor who's worked for the Disney Channel and Disney Company for all my life. And I always feel in a way when I was on That's So Raven all those years ago that I sort of grew up with everyone, because I was growing up when young people were watching the show and growing up themselves. And those grown-up people are now having children of their own. And so to see them come to the concert and appreciate me from days gone by with their new children and all of this beautiful Disney music and stories is very rewarding. It's very exciting. I'm having just an absolute blast. There's nothing negative I could say. Even if you wanted a juicy story, I couldn't give it to
you. Dang, that's what we need. We need that juicy stuff.
Something just salacious and wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
After seeing the show, I just keep telling everyone it is like a millennial's dream show, because we get to see you, who we grew up with, and then we get to see Susan Egan, who was the voice of Meg in Hercules and was Belle on Broadway. And then all of you just sing these songs from our childhood. Like, I was just sitting there and I was like, these are songs that I've listened to literally since I was like 3 years old. And just to see those live by these incredible singers, I died. I couldn't even.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's something like you think we would have done this before, brought Disney the concert, because this is a new thing for Disney to have a concert that tours. But we're really bringing New York theater and New York Broadway talent to you, to all different states of this country, in this beautiful country. And I think people deserve that. We have people dressed up in cosplay, people who are in their teens, their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. It's not just little girls and little boys dressing as princes and princesses. And I love that we do a meet and greet before for some people that want it. And just talking to people, I feel so, I feel like I'm doing charity work, even though I'm getting paid. Because people are so happy and so grateful. And I feel just really grateful right back. But you're right. I never appreciated that, these Disney movies as much as I do now, just singing them and singing part of your world in 4-part harmony. No one's heard that before, or singing Into the Unknown or Let It Go in 4-part harmony. So it's something really very special. Of course, we have a huge, massive, like 70-foot LED screen behind us playing the movies while we're singing. So of course, the youngins, if they get bored of my choreography and my dance moves, they can just turn to the screen. It's very eye tantalizing as well. It's like good eye candy.
So many of us loved you as Chelsea on That's So Raven.
Who? What?
Who was that? What was that thing? Honestly, and I mean, I think something that I love about TikTok so much is that so many millennials are now that we have Disney Plus, we're going back and reliving those moments. And I think we just all hold it as to such a special part of our lives. And I mean, I call it like the golden age of Disney, that sort of like late 90s, early 2000s. And I
Yeah.
mean, it still holds up. Like watching That's So Raven now, it's just like the writing and the themes and just everything is just, it's still so relevant and so incredible. When you were doing the show, did you think that it would kind of have this legacy that would live on for so long?
Gosh, that's a great question. No, when I was doing That's a Raven, I booked it when I was like 15 years old. I didn't book it. They gave it to somebody else, and it was a big long thing. You know, the show actually used to be called Absolutely Psychic, and then it just morphed into so many different things. I originally went in for the lead role until they realized that, of course, Raven had was hilarious and so talented, and also had more of the name. Eventually they bumped her up to the lead, and then they started auditioning people to play her sidekick. So I went back in again to play her sidekick. It was a whole big thing, but that at the time when you're in it, you don't realize it. I didn't realize at the time that, oh my gosh, we're tackling real issues, race issues, issues that have been going on for centuries and decades and, you know, hundreds of years, obviously. But I'm saying even before George Floyd, we were tackling and challenging young people, young minds who were watching the Disney Channel about weight issues, fiscal issues, money issues, family issues, parenting issues, and yeah, race issues. But at the time, no, long story long, to answer your question, no, I did not think it would have this impact. And what's interesting is how time and life changes. You know, I think those were the golden years too. And when people come up to me and say, I grew up watching you, you're my childhood. They also say that gosh, those were the golden years. And I loved how you, that the show, like you just said, held up and really challenged us, really tackled real issues, almost more so than Raven's Home or the current shows now, even after what we've been through. You know, life, politics, all of that ebbs and flows. And I kind of hope we get back to really challenging our children, feeling like we can leave the room, parents can leave the room and have their kids watch a show like That's So Raven and still be okay, that they can handle dark things, that dark things are happening all around them. As long as it has a message at the end and you add in some humor, it'll be okay. I know I miss the Even Stevens, Lizzie McGuire era, and then of course That's So Raven. That's So Raven for for diversity. You know, we were the first show to be so diverse, the first show that had a young Black woman's name in the title. She became a producer even at her young age before Raven's Home, back in That's So Raven era. And yeah, it was groundbreaking. I did not realize it at the time though, and I'm so glad I realize it now, and that people constantly remind me about what that show meant to them. I feel so honored.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. And I mean, I think it was so special because not only did we have all of these amazing shows, but I think Disney Channel did a really, really good job of kind of building that community and like bringing all the actors together. You know, there was obviously like the iconic crossover specials. There was something I actually saw trending on TikTok was when all of the Disney Channel stars sang A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes.
Oh my gosh.
And like, like name something more iconic than like that song. It was just so incredible. And yeah, it as you say, like it really at the time felt very inclusive. And it just really felt like you were kind of part of that family. Even for me, growing up on like the other side of the world in New Zealand. It was the same thing.
I know, and that warms my heart too. Just knowing that we reached other countries all over the world is insane. I have so many fans from Brazil, really from Brazil. Brazil really loves the Disney Channel and always favored That's So Raven, probably because they saw themselves the most, at least in the show. And you know, it's so funny. I'm doing this Disney Princess concert now, and I sing the Snow White classic princess medley with Cinderella songs, and I sing A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. And I always think about Hilary Duff and Kyla Pratt and Orlando Brown, and oh my gosh, just all of these things. Do you remember when we sang Circle of Life when they brought out the Lion King DVD, the first time DVDs were coming coming out
Oh
off
my
of
gosh.
VHS. God, I'm old. God, I'm old. But yeah,
Oh,
we all
God.
Circle of Life. And I think about that every time Cindy Winters, who was in The Lion King, who is in our show, Lion King
So
on
good.
Broadway, and she's in our show, as well as Ariel Jacobs, who was Jasmine in Aladdin. Whenever Cindy sings Shadowland, I always think of Lion King and Circle of Life, and just how connected I've been to all of these Disney movies, and how full circle it is, and how I couldn't leave the Disney family even if I wanted to. Such a big part of my life. Thanks for telling me that bit about TikTok. I gotta get on the TikTok.
You do have to get on the TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to help you with that as well. If you need some help.
I'd be like, Tyler.
Yeah.
But you have to be you're so good at it. I was asking you the other day how you do that, I have such struggle with still in my life, even after being on television my whole life, even after being on Broadway, and sort of making it how you're always starting from square one, that it doesn't even matter. Even if you're Nicole Kidman, there are roles that I'm sure she wants that she gets beaten out of by Julianne Moore or Naomi Watts or some other Australian actress. So you're always kind of beginning anew when a new project starts that you want. And I just admire your creativity, your tenacity to really become the producer, the actor, the editor, the writer, all of that. I don't know how to do that at all. And I wish I did. And I think that's what it takes to get on TikTok. That's probably why I've been so reluctant, because it's very, very hard work. I get pissed when I don't hear about feedback from an audition. TikTok, I guess, is a little bit more gratifying, especially when you have 1 million+ viewers like you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really, really been such an interesting journey. And we were talking a little bit about this the other day, about how the industry is changing. And I think that there are these celebrities or people, who are well known, who are really embracing it. We're talking about Christy Carlson Romano doing all of the work. And, she's done incredible stuff on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, even if you're kind of at that level, there's still, as you say, that work that is required to kind of really, really get into it. But I just think, it's so incredible. And I mean, it's really, again, on TikTok, like I've connected with so many people and just built this really amazing community. And again, I was saying, like, as an actor, to kind of have that and still be able to produce art, even if, I'm not getting the audition, or if I don't quite make it like there at the time, at least I'm still able to reach people and still being able to practice my craft and really do that on my own is really, really special.
That you're in control, that you're in control of your fate and your career as much as possible. Of course, the luck comes in as well, but it's such a different time, it's almost like if everybody's famous, no one's famous, or if no one's famous,
You got it.
Yeah. And it's great. I used to just rely on my talent, but being a triple threat really isn't enough anymore. And while that makes me sad in a way, it also just makes me realize the time's changing. I'm just getting older, and that I do want other people and all people to get those opportunities. And that at the same time, it is in my control too, and maybe I could do more. And I think networking and a little bit of nepotism is okay.
Yeah.
Nepotism usually means blood or family,
Yes.
but I think it's great. It's like, if you're a good person, I truly believe you'll be rewarded. If you're a hard worker, if you want something bad enough, you should get it. You do deserve it. And then your talent, if you really are talented, will hold you through, or your kindness, or both, working hand in hand.
Exactly. And I mean, that's something I always tell my students as well, that it's scary that there's this whole idea of like what the industry is, and there is a lot of talk of like nepotism, and it's like who but that's like part of the career, I think. And I mean, I think that part of your professionalism, just like in many industries, is to really put yourself out there and to do that networking, present yourself. I think presenting yourself to people is so important.
Yeah, and why not? Why not? Networking shouldn't just be this activity. It means that you're meeting people, and then maybe actually connecting and becoming inspired, or having more friends in your life to even talk about how shitty that audition was, or
Definitely.
how sucky this one thing was that you filmed and you couldn't get your technology to work, so you had to do this other thing. And some of those connections get lost and you don't bond with the person, but then others really, really come through. It is a new exciting time. I wish I didn't fight it so much, you know. But you know, I just have to get with it as far as producing, writing, and editing. Like, it's not enough that I'm a singer, dancer, actor anymore, and I can do my own makeup. You know what I mean? Like, I have to push myself now even a little bit more, and I am. And it's an exciting time. You know, it really is.
But I think, I mean, again, that's what's so exciting for us as well, is to see people like you who inspired us when we were younger, and like we know from one thing, and now like we can go and see you on stage singing. And not just, you know, not just as the girl who was on That's So Raven, like as an incredible Broadway performer. I mean, hearing you sing those songs, it's like there's, no doubt that your talent is very, very, very incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely brought me back to working hard. And, you know, TV is great, but it's sometimes, you know, sometimes the hours are long, sometimes the hours are short. Sometimes when you get stuck playing a character for so long, Chelsea, you lose the challenge, you know, people just trust you. And then of course, Raven's Home, they had to be more focused on the kids, and I had to be focused on the kids, teaching them and imploring my wisdom over the years, but I sort of forgot about myself. So this has been really great to get back on the ground and work hard on all facets. And also being there for each other, being there for these other women who are away from their families and their loved ones, and leaning on each other has been just magical.
It's so amazing. We were talking a little bit the other day about how obviously you grew up doing theatre, and we were very, very blessed to see that iconic performance in That's So Raven when you did All Alone in the Hallways as Always.
I love it. Yes, singer. Okay. Yes.
Just singing. But it's actually one of those performances. We were talking a little bit about this, is that for me growing up loving musical theatre, that is one of those things that I watched on Disney Channel that really stuck with me because it was so different. And this was the days before High School Musical and before Hannah Montana. And to see like this kind of cabaret Broadway style performance was just incredible. And I still have friends I know who talk about that performance and just say like, remember when Chelsea did that incredible Broadway performance? And I'm like, yes, like.
Oh my God, thank you. And I did it for them and I did it for you. And I had to really push for that. You know, like you said, this was at the precipice before, unfortunately, I missed my Instagram boat. You know, they didn't have Instagram when we were on the Disney Channel, and they didn't have High School Musical, and they didn't know they made pop stars. This is before Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus, and gosh, a million other fabulous singers out there, Selena Gomez. But Disney is in the market and in the making of making pop stars, and unfortunately, when at the beginning of our show, Raven was doing music in Orlando. Of course, Orlando Brown was doing a lot of rapping and writing. And, you know, they came to me and I had done Over It, I think at the time, Over It. I'm just kidding.
Was that from one of the Disney Channel original movies?
Yeah, Stuck in the Suburbs.
Oh, Stuck in the Suburbs, yes.
Suburbs, which is like, wow, that sounds like some serious white entitlement. Okay, but, like, what a terrible title, Stuck in the White Ass Suburbs.
I know, my life is so hard.
Yeah, but I sang that song for that, and I think I did like a version of Candle on the Water, and I just remember like all these pop voices, and I was like, can I just be myself in this one episode, and can I please just do a Broadway song? And so they wrote Alone in the Hallways for me, which is a sort of, you know, jazzy, vibey, Judy Garland essence, and they brought Debbie Allen in, who of course is the most fabulous triple threat slash director now. She's directs everything, and we were so honored to have her to choreograph that number, that dance, and then to also direct the entire episode. And that's why I did it for the gays.
Yes.
theater girls and guys
Yes.
who wanted that, who needed that,
Yes.
who
Yes.
were
Yeah.
also watching, you know, PBS at the time like me, or auditioning for their community theater, or watching Rent or any of the fabulous musicals. And I still get people that say that remember that, you know, who wanted Fosse on the Disney Channel. I brought Fosse to the Disney Channel, and I'll never forget it. Thank God.
I mean, what more could you want than to say that you're responsible for bringing Fosse to the Disney Channel?
I know, I mean, kind of, right? Bringing cabaret to the Disney Channel. Although I wish I'd said, can we sing this in a higher key? Why did they put that in such a
Alone in the hallway.
Oh, you sound good, Tyler. You sound good. Clear, get back in the water, Clear.
No. Stop.
Don't get back in the water. Get out and sing your face off.
Stop. I'm dead right now. No, but yeah, it is really interesting because for me as an actor as well, I always say, because when people ask, like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like being on stage or being on screen? And for me, like, I just love acting. Like, I love all facets of acting. But I think my heart, what really, really sparks my heart is musical theater. So anytime that I've had the opportunity to like combine the both, there's been, I mean, few times, but there's been a couple of times where I've been a part of a film that has had, you know, musical elements in it. And it's just, it's so special. And I think similarly to what you were saying before, I was on Power Rangers and I just, yeah, I know. So
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
For you, I used to love the Power Rangers. They're really dancers, you know.
They are. I was a bit like you. I was like a sidekick. I was a friend.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it was an incredible experience. But like, as you know, that experience of filming a TV show is just so different. And I mean, for me, it was so interesting because I did all of that filming in New Zealand, and then I moved to Australia. And I think it was like a year and a half later, it came out on TV in Australia, and I watched it, and I was like, who is that person? I was like, is that me? Like, I was like, it just felt so weird to be in a completely different part of my life and to, you know, watch myself on this work that I had done like a year and a half ago. It's just such a different experience than, you know, being a part of a show and going to the theater and kind of living out that story every night. And I mean, I think there's obviously kind of pros and cons to both of those things, but yeah, it's just interesting.
So interesting. You know, we do a Q&A for it's always interesting to hear the other women's answers with stuff like this. When we do the Q&A, a lot of young people or just adults as well ask us, what's the difference? What do you like better, TV or film or live theater, or what is one harder? And, you know, I'm always just grateful to be working, because it does get depressing as creative, artistic people. And that's why I wish I was better at getting the get up and go to do it on my own like you do. But I like also community. I like having a director and being told what to do and all of that. So it's, you know, but I always say, I mean, television, the hours are usually better because you're working during the day. Mostly you're off at night. And of course the money's better. It's better in the sense that the lines are always changing. So you have something new and fresh. But then at the same time, you never get to really delve into it because you're not working on it a lot. By the time you figure out how to do that joke, they've already filmed, they're already on to the next scene. And with theater, you get to perfect it. And sometimes theater pays great too, but not as well as TV. But sometimes when you're being paid less, you have a real sense of the work and more gratitude for the people who are working around you for even less. And what they go through, and what I don't know, just a sense of like, oh gosh, I'm really working hard and really making this money that I deserve, as opposed to, gosh, should I be making this money? I just sat in my dressing room all day. I guess I'm gonna give more to charity this year, you know what I mean?
I 100% relate to that. That's
Yeah.
so real, so real.
But I love all of it. I just love all of it. And I love singing. You know, with television, you don't get to sing as much. I'm sure the Power Rangers, you didn't sing much, right?
I didn't, unfortunately. I know.
Should. They
I
should.
know, right? Where was our musical episode?
Yeah, what would that go Power Rangers? No,
Yeah.
is that it? Go,
That's
go,
it. That's
Power
it.
Rangers.
Yeah.
With vibrato.
With
Rangers.
the just like that. Perfect. Hired.
Hi.
So obviously you have been on Broadway. You were the last belle on Broadway. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? I mean, how insane was it to be having a lead role on Broadway at that age?
Oh gosh, yeah, tell me about it. It was, you know, so Susan Egan, who I'm doing this show with, went to OSHA, Orange County High School of Performing Arts, and so did I. We grew up in the same area, in the Long Beach area. Of course, she's a bit older, so she left to do Beauty and the Beast, and after she'd done her Broadway run, she did a quick LA run at the Schubert Theater. And I saw her in Beauty and the Beast when I was 8 years old. And I thought, oh, I really want to do that part. I really want to do that part. And it's just so full circle that we would turn out to bookend. I like to say bookend because we're Belle and leader.
What you did there.
But it's so perfect that we would bookend the show because my career, I grew up following her. I worked at all the theaters she worked at, the ICT, Downey CLO, all of these LA theaters that some are no longer anymore, unfortunately, because of money and time and all of that. But it just made sense that I would do this Broadway run. And while she opened the show, I closed the show. And while it was very exciting, it was also a little bit sad because, well, first of all, I booked the show and I was 22, and it was like somebody pinched me. I'm too lucky. Of course, the show That's So Raven definitely helped me open the door. Of course, I had to prove myself, and I think they were pleasantly surprised that I could sing and was from the theater. I wasn't just from the Disney Channel. I was a singer, a belter, a Broadway singer. And I was just very excited. But when I went to the first couple of rehearsals, I realized, oh, wow, this show's ending. I'm the last belle, and that has its weight to it. That has its ups and downs, its pros and cons. And one of the cons was that people were losing their jobs. They were worried about their livelihood. They were really sad. So it was my responsibility to come in and do a good job, but also to lift everyone up, to end on a good note. And I learned a lot in that show. I learned that it really isn't about me, that you have to hold your cast together emotionally, not just on stage, but off stage. They really look to you. Your mood really tells their mood. It's just an unwritten responsibility that you have to take it or really leave it. If you're going to come in with any of your BS, everyone's going to feel like they can have their BS too, that they can complain and whine and bitch because the lead is. So she's, and I would come in like a half hour before the show, and our Beast would be getting his makeup put on, that he had been there, an hour or two before me. And I thought, wow, that's really hard. He has to come in so much earlier than me. And people just we're having a difficult time. So I learned a lot, and it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing to be able to lift them up and say, this is going to be fun. It was a 2 hour and 45-minute show, which was difficult.
Wow.
But the music sat in my voice really not very nicely. My mother came to opening night. That was very exciting. I remember she was waving to me in the audience uncontrollably. It was like a little child. I know. I was like, Mom. But that was beautiful. And New York, living in New York, I stayed at the Mark Hotel, the Mark Apartments, which were fabulous. I felt like, oh my God, I'm so young and I own this town. It's a very powerful feeling.
Definitely.
So long story long, it was amazing. It was amazing to do the show, to sing those songs, to do that kick line, to wear that yellow 30-pound bell dress. It was insane. It had a mind of its own. I'd spin off the stage and it would keep spinning because it was so heavy.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredible.
Yes, and I was Stephen Blanchard, Stephen Buttrock. That was my Beast and my Gaston. And then the very last performance, Donny Osmond came in just to do that last performance, and he was my Gaston for the evening. And that was
oh my gosh, wow, that is incredible. That is so special.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're going back to your Broadway roots with the show at the moment,
Mhm.
is Broadway still, you know, something ideally that you want to kind of keep working in? Like, is that kind of dream of, you know, that you had back then, is that kind of still where you're gunning towards now?
Absolutely. I'm kind of one of those people who's like work procures work. I usually, you know, to be honest, I never talk about networking. Most of my jobs that I've got, I haven't auditioned for. The one audition that I got that was an audition, I think was That's So Raven. Of course, Raven's Home just fell on my lap.
Yeah.
Most of these other things are like offers. You know, auditioning's hard. It's really by connections that you book things. But yes, I would love to do musical theater. And more Broadway. When I finished Beauty and the Beast, I came back to LA because my family's there and to audition for TV and film. So I didn't give it a good shot. I came back in 2009 and 2011 to do a show at the Lyceum and at Second Stage called Vanities. And that was meant to go to Broadway, but that was right during the crash.
Yes.
So I've had little spouts of it. But no, I'd like to originate a role desperately on Broadway. I'd like to do something more serious. I'd even like to do some straight plays at some off-Broadway theaters that I really respect. And now, of course, the industry, the TV and film industry, is finally starting to embrace Ariana DeBose and Cynthia Erivo and these Broadway talents that are, you know, transitioning. Audrey McDonald finally is doing a lot of television. Leslie Kritzer, so many fabulous women that are transitioning into television and film. So it seems like both coasts are really getting it. So yeah, I'd like to just stay in the mix and stay in the pot and doing all of those things and to do some more drama. I love Disney and I love happy stuff, but I'm a much deeper person who's multifaceted and would like to exercise those strengths of mine as well. Thanks for asking.
Of course. Well, I have no doubt that we will see much more of you.
Oh, thank you.
No, honestly.
Ditto. Thank you. But ditto. And you're such a hard worker. You're doing it on your own. I need to put less things in other people's control and put it more in my control. And maybe we'll work together doing the Power Rangers musical on Broadway.
God. Let's start writing. I'm going to start writing it now.
Or just H2O the musical.
H2O the musical. Okay, this is an idea that I have had, and I think it would work really well. So.
Oh my God! Really? I was just like making that up. Oh my God!
I mean,
yes.
I need to get onto it. I need to get onto it. So.
Yes. Please, I want the audition as soon as it comes out.
Okay. I'll have my people talk to your people. So.
Yeah.
Incredible. I have to ask this. We spoke about this a little bit because so many of my followers have followed me because of the Twilight videos that I make. Because I spent so much time remaking Twilight. I know that you have also been in that position. You were in Vampire Suck, which was the official Twilight movie. How was that experience? How was it being in that?
Oh, it's so fun. What was it called? So Vampire
Suck.
Yeah, Vampire Suck. Well, to be honest, it's the only film that I've been in that made it to movie theater. So I actually got to go to the movie theater to see it. But I love parodies. I love spoof. I love scary movie. And I love making fun of Anna Kendrick, you know.
Me too.
Yeah, I think we all know why. There's just things there to make fun of, right?
Right.
With us all.
Yeah.
We filmed that in Louisiana, in Shreveport, Louisiana. But at the same time, Alicia Silverstone and Nicolas Cage and a whole bunch of other people were filming at the time. And we were all in this Hilton kind of hanging out, which was really fun.
Wow.
You know, it's always the behind the scenes stories that are great. Filming was great too. Long days though, long like hours, long waking up in the middle of the night. I remember I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. to be on set at 5, and we'd meet at this van that would take us to this swamp area, and then we'd have to get on this boat to go through the swamp where alligators and everything were, just to get to set where we would film. And it was always those things that were really exciting. Or, you know, going out after. Filming as well was fun. I got to curse on screen, which was exciting for a teenager like me coming off of the Disney Channel. I was like, yes, I'm gonna say the F word and live my truth and my dream.
Yes. Yes.
So that was fun. I wish I could do more of them, and I wish I talked to some of the gang more doing that. But it was fun. I love any kind of comedy I get to do.
Definitely. And I mean, again, like, I'm not just saying this, but like, I just think one of the reasons why Chelsea was so popular was because your comedic timing and your ability as a comedic actor is just like so incredible. It's like, and I just, that's a skill set. I mean, comedic timing is very, very difficult. And I mean, not all of those lines that you had were, you know, great lines, but the way that you delivered them was just, I mean, there's so many. The one that lives in my head rent free. Do you carry a lunchbox?
Which, you know, it's so, thank you. Do you carry a lunchbox?
Oh my God, stop.
Which again, I stole from theater, from musical theater, or from, you know, watching old Katharine Hepburn movies, of course. Like, that's just a Katharine Hepburn voice. Then I was just, you know, shooting the breeze on set. But it's amazing how many people don't, and a lot of people do, but how many people don't have a sense of humor, don't know timing. And again, I learned that from all of the fabulous gays in every show I ever did growing up. The funniest people in the world were the chorus boys dancing their faces off and being fucking hilarious.
Definitely.
I can't say
you
that,
can
but,
say that. You can.
but being effing hilarious.
Yeah.
And I knew the power in comedy, how many friends you can get, how many people respect you. And I think it was always a defense mechanism growing up in a time, even before Will and Grace, for the gay community to gain acceptance in being funny. Like, okay, they hate what I do or hate who I sleep with, but at least they'll like me as a funny person. And I learned a lot from that, and I'm so grateful.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, I love the theater. I love the people that it's brought in my life, you know, and I'm so glad I always can come back to it, like I am doing right now in this show, in Disney Princess the Concert.
Definitely. And that is what's so incredible about theatre as well, is that I feel like it really is a community that you can always be a part of in some way. And that's why it's so important to have those deeply rooted kind of like technique and training in you that you can always provide it. I mean, I think every straight play that I've ever done, you know, there's always been, oh, you can sing, like, can you do like can we put a little song in here for you or whatever? And I mean, I think, you know, it's just such a valuable skill set. The fact that you can always go back to it and keep working on it and keep exploring it is just so, so important.
Yeah, keep honing your skills and accents and everything. And I always tell the people who come to the show, you know, that it's theater, you know, it's hard to make it, it's hard to book stuff, but at the same time, it seems like such a big world and so unobtainable, but it's also such a small world. The theater world is so small, and it's really like a family. And if you get in, you can stay in. You just have to keep working and networking. And but it's small. I mean, there are only so many talented people out there. You just got to keep going, one foot in front of the other. And that's just a rule in general in life. You know, what are you going to roll over and die? No, you're going to get up and you're going to put one foot in front of the other, and you're going to keep going. And remember what your worth is, what you have to offer. You know, you have to share your gift with the world. My gosh, that's why we're here.
That's right. 100%, 100%. Anneliese, thank you so much. All the best for the rest of the tour. Please go and get your tickets to see the show. It is so, so incredible.
Thank you, Cleo. And Kyla. Thank you. Are you kidding? I had so much fun, and I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do next. And thanks for supporting our show and giving us a shout out. And anyone who wants tickets, it's DisneyPrincessConcert.com. That's how you have to put in DisneyPrincessConcert.com.
Do it, honestly. It is so incredible. So incredible.